Hello everyone. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and let's go.
He thought he was building a legacy of peace, only to find out his entire existence was a punchline in a game he did not even know he was playing. Let's analyze the silent red flags of a betrayal so calculated that it left a 20-year marriage in the trash on the front lawn. Look, I'm not the kind of guy who looks for trouble. Being a paramedic in Kansas City for 15 years, you see enough trouble to last 3 lifetimes. I've scraped people off Interstate 70 and patched up gunshot wounds in parking lots near Arrowhead Stadium. All I ever wanted when I clocked out was peace. I wanted my house in Overland Park, my lawn, which I kept tighter than a Marine's haircut, and my wife, Mary. Mary was something else. Or at least, I thought she was. She was a head nurse at one of the big private surgical centers downtown. We were that couple, you know? The ones people looked at and thought, damn, they've got it figured out. We had the silver Chevrolet Silverado in the driveway, the golden retriever, and a kitchen that looked like it belonged in a Williams-Sonoma catalog. She was beautiful, even after 20 years. Smart, too. Or so I told myself. It was a Tuesday morning, maybe 5:15 a.m. The sun was not even up yet, just a gray smear over the horizon. I was sitting at the kitchen island, drinking some of that expensive Kopi Luwak coffee Mary had started buying lately. $30 a bag, man. I did not get it, but she said her boss, Mr. Harrison, recommended it. I just figured she was moving up in the world. I watched her sleep for a second through the bedroom door. She looked like an angel. That's the lie, right? The better they look, the harder they're playing you. I was about to head out when her phone buzzed on the granite counter. She'd left it right next to my keys. Usually, I would not look. I'm a trust but verify kind of guy, mostly leaning on the trust. But the screen lit up with a text from her friend, Linda. You know Linda, the kind of woman who's had 4 divorces and thinks men are just wallets with legs. The text read, "Hey girl, checking in. Is Harrison still worth that bet we made at the bar? Or are you getting cold feet? Do not tell me I'm winning those $500 already." I stared at that screen until it went black. Then I tapped it again. My heart was not racing. It was doing that slow, heavy thud you get right before a storm hits. A bet. A $500 bet. My marriage, my house, the 20 years I spent working double shifts so she could have that designer kitchen. It was all just a game over drinks with the girls. I did not wake her up. I did not scream. I just picked up my keys, walked out to my truck, and sat there. The engine was cold, and so was I. I looked at our house. The lawn looked perfect under the streetlights. The flower beds were neat. It was all a stage set, man, and I was the only one who did not know the play was a comedy. Anyway, I went to work. I did my 12 hours. I handled a heart attack at a Walmart and a broken leg at a construction site. But my mind was on that coffee and the way she'd been going for runs lately. Mary hated running. She used to say she only ran if there was a fire. But for the last month, she'd been hitting the pavement at 7 p.m. sharp. I pulled up her Apple Health data on our shared family plan. I'm a tech guy. I like to know how things work. I saw her runs. Her heart rate would spike to 140 beats per minute for about 20 minutes, then settle down. But the GPS? The GPS showed her phone sitting dead still at a luxury apartment complex near the Country Club Plaza. One of those places where the doorman wears white gloves and the rent costs more than my monthly salary. Here's the kicker. That apartment complex? That's where Harrison lived. The big shot CEO of her clinic. The guy who liked the $30 coffee. I did not go home after my shift. I went to a Best Buy and bought a high-end dash cam with a night vision interior lens. I did not need it for the truck. I had a different plan. I sat in the parking lot of a Quick Trip, eating a stale sandwich, and realized I did not feel sad. I felt focused. When you're a paramedic, you do not panic when things go south. You triage. You stop the bleeding. I was going to stop the bleeding, all right. I was going to cut the infection out of my life before it reached my heart. I looked at the time on the dashboard. 8:45 p.m. Mary texted me. "Still at the clinic, honey. Big fundraiser tonight. Do not wait up. Love you." I did not reply. I just started the Chevy and headed toward downtown. Kansas City at night is beautiful if you do not know where the cracks are. I drove past the Power and Light District, all neon and noise, and headed toward the Raphael. It's an old-school luxury hotel. Classy. The kind of place people go when they want to feel important, or when they want to hide in plain sight. I parked my truck 3 blocks away. I did not want the valet recognizing the plates. I changed out of my uniform in the cab, put on a charcoal suit I'd bought for a funeral 2 years ago. I looked in the mirror. I looked like a guy who belonged at a fundraiser, or a guy who was about to deliver a very final verdict. I walked into the lobby. The air smelled like expensive lilies and old money. I could hear a jazz quartet playing somewhere near the bar. I followed the sound of clinking glasses and fake laughter toward the ballroom. There she was. Mary was wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. It was silk, probably cost $1,000, and it fit her like a second skin. It was not a nurse at a fundraiser dress. It was a look at what you cannot have dress. She was standing near a marble pillar, holding a glass of champagne, laughing at something Bill Harrison was saying. Harrison was exactly what you'd expect. 60 years old, hair plugged in at a clinic in Vegas, teeth whiter than a porcelain sink. He had his hand on the small of her back. Not a professional hand. Not a good job, head nurse hand. His thumb was tracing circles on the silk of her dress. I stayed in the shadows. I felt like a ghost watching my own life get haunted. I took out my phone and started recording. I did not need much, just enough to show the intent. "Is the bet still on, Mary?" I heard him ask. His voice was that low, gravelly tone men use when they think they're being charming. She leaned in close to his ear. I could see her smile, that same smile she gave me when I proposed at the Lake of the Ozarks. "Linda thinks I'll chicken out," she whispered. "She does not know how much I like to win." "And what do I win?" Harrison asked. "You already know, Bill," she said. She ran a hand down his lapel. "You get the prize. I get the $500 and the bragging rights. It's a win-win." Listen, I've seen people die in front of me. I've held their hands while they took their last breath, but nothing felt as cold as hearing my wife barter our life for $500 and a laugh with a woman like Linda. It was not even about Harrison. He was just the equipment she was using to play the game. They started walking toward the elevators. I followed at a distance, my heart steady as a rock. They got into an elevator. I watched the gold numbers climb. Floor 12, the penthouse suites. I went back to my truck. I did not need to see the rest. I had the audio of her talking about the bet. I had the video of them together. I sat in the driver's seat and pulled out a manila envelope I'd hidden under the seat. Inside were the divorce papers I'd had a buddy of mine, a process server, pull for me earlier that afternoon. I also had a receipt from a pawn shop on Troost Avenue. 2 hours ago, I'd taken her engagement ring, the one with the 2-carat diamond I'd worked 3 jobs to buy, and sold it. The guy gave me $4,000 for it, a fraction of what it was worth, but I did not care. I used that money to retain the meanest divorce lawyer in the state of Missouri. I looked at the ring finger on my left hand. There was a tan line where my band used to be. I took the band off and threw it into the storm drain. "Your move, Mary," I muttered. I drove home to Overland Park. I had a lot of work to do before she got back. It was 11:30 p.m. I had maybe 3 hours. Plenty of time to perform a little surgery on our perfect life. When I got home, the house was quiet. Too quiet. It felt like a museum dedicated to a dead man. I went straight to the master bedroom and pulled those big black contractor trash bags out from under the sink. I did not hesitate. I went into her closet. The designer shoes, the Louis Vuitton bags she swore she bought on sale, the silk blouses. I swept them off the hangers and into the bags. I did not fold anything. I did not care if things tore. This was not a move. It was an eviction. I dragged the bags down the stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Huge, bulging black sacks of her vanity. I hauled them out to the front lawn, right next to the Family of the Year plaque we'd won from the Homeowners Association last summer. I threw the bags in a pile. It looked like a crime scene, only the victim was my pride. Then I went to her home office. She had a MacBook Pro and an iPad. I sat down at her desk. She'd left her social media accounts logged in. Mary loved her followers. She had 10,000 people watching her perfect nurse life. She posted photos of us at brunch, photos of her runs, photos of our golden retriever. I opened the video I'd recorded at the Raphael. I did a quick edit. I layered the audio from the phone call with Linda over the video of her flirting with Harrison. Then, I hit the live button on her Instagram. "Hey everyone," I said to the camera. I was not shouting. I was calm. "This is James, Mary's husband, or, well, her soon-to-be ex-husband. I know you all love her perfect life, but I thought you'd like to see how she spends her Tuesday nights." I turned the camera toward the screen of my laptop and played the video. I let the whole world hear about the $500 bet. I let them see her rubbing Harrison's arm. I let them see the elevator doors close. "The bags are on the lawn, Mary," I said, looking back into the lens. "Do not bother with the key. I've already changed the codes on the smart lock." I ended the stream. Within seconds, the notifications started rolling in, thousands of people. The comments were a blur of "OMG" and "No way" and "Is this real?" Her reputation, the thing she valued more than my love, was dissolving in real time. I went to the kitchen and made a sandwich, ham and Swiss on rye. I sat in the dark, eating and watching the security camera feed on my phone. At 2:15 a.m., her white Lexus pulled into the driveway. I watched her through the Ring camera. She got out of the car, looking tired but smug. Then she saw the bags. She froze. She walked over to them, poking at the plastic with her high heels. She looked at the house, then at her phone. Her face went pale in the glow of the screen. She must have seen the notifications. She ran to the front door and punched in the code. Beep, 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 error. She tried again. Error. She started pounding on the door. "James! James, open this door! What are you doing? Are you crazy?" I got up, walked to the door, and opened it just a crack. I did not take off the security chain. I just looked at her. Her mascara was smeared, and that $1,000 dress was wrinkled. "You forgot something," I said. I reached out and handed her the manila envelope with the divorce papers. "James, it was a joke!" she screamed. She was crying now, the big, ugly sobs of someone who got caught. "It was just a stupid bet with Linda. It did not mean anything. I love you." "You loved the house, Mary. You loved the image," I said. I looked her dead in the eye. But you sold me for $500. That's your price. And honestly, I thought I was worth more. But hey, we all make mistakes in judgment. Where am I supposed to go? She wailed, waving her arms at the dark street. Try the penthouse, I said. Or maybe Linda has a couch. But you're not coming back in here. Ever. I closed the door. I heard her screaming and kicking the wood for 10 minutes. Then I heard her Lexus peel out, tires screaming on the pavement. I went to the living room, sat on the sofa, and stared at the wall. The silence was the best thing I'd heard in years. The next morning, I did not go to sleep. I took a shower, drank another cup of that Kopi Luwak coffee. It was actually pretty good, I'll give her that, and drove downtown. I had one more stop to make. I walked into the surgical center where Mary worked. Everyone was whispering. The video had gone viral in the medical community. The perfect head nurse was the talk of the city, and not in a good way. I went straight to the executive floor. Harrison's assistant tried to stop me, but I just walked past her. I'm 6'2", and I've spent my life lifting stretchers. She was not going to get in my way. I kicked open the door to Harrison's office. He was sitting behind a mahogany desk looking like he had not slept either. Mary was there too. She was disheveled, her hair a mess, pleading with him. "Bill, you have to help me. He took everything. He ruined my name," she was saying. Harrison looked up and saw me. He did not look brave. He looked like a man who was calculating his losses. "James," he said, clearing his throat. "Look, this is a private matter. We can talk about this like gentlemen." "I'm not a gentleman, Bill," I said. I walked over to the desk. "I'm a paramedic. I deal with messes. And you are a big one." Mary turned to me, her eyes wide. "James, please. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. I'll lose my job." "You already lost it, Mary," I said. I looked at Harrison. "I sent the video to your board of directors this morning, along with a copy of the clinic's ethics policy regarding fraternization with subordinates. You might be the CEO, but they do not like lawsuits. And they really do not like bad PR in the Kansas City Star." Harrison's face went from pale to a sickly shade of gray. You cannot do that." "Already did," I said. Mary grabbed Harrison's arm. "Bill, do something. Tell him you'll take care of me." Harrison shoved her hand off his sleeve like she was a stray dog. "Take care of you? Mary, are you delusional? You're a liability. You're fired, effective immediately. HR will mail you your final check." Mary gasped. But you said—" "I said a lot of things," Harrison snapped. "It was a game, Mary. My buddies and I had a pool going. I bet them I could get the saintly head nurse into bed within a week. You were a trophy, nothing more. Now get out of my office before I call security." The silence in that room was heavy. Mary looked at Harrison, then at me. She realized she'd gambled her entire life on a man who did not even know her middle name, all to win a bet with a woman who did not even like her. She reached out to me, her voice a broken whisper. "James, please. I have nowhere to go. My parents won't not even pick up the phone." I checked my watch. "Shift starts in 20 minutes. I've got lives to save. People who actually matter." I turned around and walked out. I did not look back. I heard her howling in the hallway, the sound of a woman who finally realized that when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. 3 months later. Winter had hit Kansas City, the kind of cold that gets into your bones and stays there. I was back on the night shift. Life was different now. The house in Overland Park was sold. I'd made a clean break. I had a smaller place, a simple condo near the park. No Family of the Year plaques, just me and the dog. We got a call at 2 a.m. for a difficulty breathing at the Blue Valley Trailer Park. It's on the edge of the city, a place where the asphalt is more potholes than road, and the trailers look like they're held together by rust and prayer. The ambulance bounced over the ruts as we pulled into the park. We found the unit, number 42. It was an old Airstream that had not moved since 1992. I hopped out with my med kit. The air was biting. I knocked on the thin metal door. A woman opened it. She was wearing a stained hoodie and leggings with holes in the knees. Her hair was greasy, pulled back in a messy knot. She was holding a cheap cigarette in one hand and a phone with a cracked screen in the other. It was Mary. She looked 20 years older. The perfect nurse was gone. In her place was a woman who looked like she had been chewed up and spit out by the city. She froze when she saw the uniform. Then she saw my face. "James?" she whispered. I did not flinch. I did not even let my expression change. "Patient's name?" I asked, looking at my clipboard. It's my neighbor," she stammered. "In 43. He's having chest pains." "Step aside, please," I said. I walked past her. The smell inside the trailer park was a mix of wood smoke and poverty. I did my job. I treated the old man in the next trailer, stabilized him, and loaded him onto the gurney. As we were leaving, Mary was standing by her door, shivering in the cold. "James!" she called out. I lost everything. Harrison blacklisted me. No clinic in the state will hire me. I'm working at a diner for $10 an hour. I made a mistake. Can we just talk? I paused at the back of the ambulance. I looked at her, standing there in the dirt of the trailer park, the neon light of a nearby liquor store flickering over her face. "I heard you won that bet, Mary," I said. $500. Hope it was worth it. "James, please, I'm dying here." "You're not dying, Mary," I said, my voice as cold as the Missouri wind. "You're just living the life you chose. I'm a paramedic. I save people who are having accidents. You? This was not an accident. This was a plan." I climbed into the back of the rig and pulled the doors shut. The heavy click of the latch was the final period at the end of our story. As the ambulance pulled away, I looked through the small rear window. I saw her standing alone in the dark, a small, shrinking figure in the rearview mirror. I sat back, checked the patient's vitals, and told the driver to head to the hospital. I had work to do. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like the air in my lungs was finally clean. The perfect life was over, and thank God for that. The hero's main mistake was confusing a comfortable routine with genuine loyalty. He ignored his gut when the lifestyle started changing without reason. First, always verify new habits. If the biology does not match the story is a lie. Second, protect your assets early. A clean, decisive break is your only leverage when the person you trusted becomes a stranger. What would you have done if you saw those bags on the lawn? Write your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more honest case studies.